people at Disney were pretty butthurt.
Well, of course they were. I mean, anytime that South Park, they ding somebody.
Yeah.
And it's funny. It's funny that it happens every time because nothing ever happens to Matt Stone and Trey Parker. They get away with it every single time.
Well, it's funny because it's like, well, they wouldn't be so mad if it wasn't true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like what's his face and Meghan Markle, is that it? Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, yeah. Where they were like, they're like, we want our privacy. like they moved in across from Kyle, and like they just like he was playing drums and everything, and it was the part where he's like, where they're trying to get Kyle to look at him, and he just won't do it.
Yeah.
And like Prince Harry goes over there and rubs his blue penis all over the window. Oh man. They somebody else got it was Family Guy.
Yeah, that was a pretty mild joke that they made too.
It was, and they're mad about that one.
Yeah.
It was like the butler comes over. He's like, "Sir, it's your $1 million check. Your check for $1 million from Netflix for who knows what." And he was like, "Put it with all the rest." And then like she says something, and he just goes, I should have stayed with all the made up nonsense.
There was, because wasn't it? Did they have like a podcast or something that was on like Spotify?
The two of them did?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Either that or they might have had the Netflix series or something. It was just like nobody was watching it. So they just like pulled it.
I remember that there was a Netflix series of them complaining, and then also he wrote a book and he was just him complaining.
Ugh.
From what I understand. I have not seen this show or read the book, so I can't really say.
Like, sir, I am struggling to buy groceries.
I do not care.
Yeah, I do not care about whatever it is that you got going on.
You cannot make me care.
No.
I don't care. It's like, I just, I wake up in a cold sweat, wondering if my base needs will be met. I really don't care that your mom is mad about your wife's brownness. It doesn't really matter to me.
Somebody like...
She's not even that. That's the funny thing, though, is like for the longest time, I just thought she was a white woman.
I thought she was white, too. I was like, somebody was like, she's black. I was like, no, she's not.
Yeah, I was like, no, she isn't.
No, she
That's
isn't.
a white woman. And then I remember they were so... talking about the royal family, they were so concerned about what the color of the baby's skin would be. I was like, fucking white? You both look white.
Yeah, you both look white.
Like, he's as white as it gets, like pedigree white, and like you are white passing. So.
Yeah, she looks like she just has a little bit of a tan.
Yeah, like you just got out the sun for a little bit.
Right. I mean, she's about as black as Rachel Dolezal. Which isn't black at all.
No. Rachel Dolezal, man, that was the ultimate, hold the mirror up moment for them, because it was like, if anybody can identify as anything, why can't this white woman identify as a black woman?
Yeah, and
what's your reasoning?
Yeah, she was like the head of the NAACP chapter or whatever where she was.
Yeah. And it was like, all the reasoning and arguments that they used for why that woman could not identify as a black woman was the same exact arguments and reasoning that the quote-unquote far right uses to say that, men can't be women, women can't be men. So it was just very interesting to see them just turn the whole thing up on its head.
Yeah.
The whole time that all that was going on, or when it really kicked off, they're like, we just have to hope that there's no white people who try to genuinely identify as black people, because it's going to flip the whole thing upside down.
It's like, wow, lib left, you sound mighty alt-right right now.
Oh, man. And then, of course, you got all the leftist, especially the college students these days. All the leftists that are going out in the streets and chanting, "Gas the Jews, kill the Jews."
Yeah.
It's the same people that spent the last 8 years calling everyone else a Nazi.
Yeah, punch a Nazi. Yeah.
What the hell?
I guess go beat yourself up. I mean, I don't
guess.
really.
I mean, it just.
Like, no, it's different when I do it.
It's different. It's like when people post it's different, but they put the parentheses around the D for Democrat or whatever. It's funny. It's just the amount of double standards.
The hypocrisy.
The hypocrisy is unfucking believable. And they just don't see it.
No.
They just don't. They're so blind to it. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
No.
The amount of mental gymnastics is Olympian at this level.
But yeah, I thought the episode was it was a pretty good episode.
I thought it was good too. I feel like they didn't really, the whole crux of the thing was, Disney pandering, of course, was the whole thing. But like, they also tried to throw in a little bit of like both sides.
Yeah.
Like. They tried to say like everybody's reaction to the pandering was also a problem.
So they doubled down on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like it just kind of felt like they didn't really, it felt a little fence city to me. But I mean, yeah, it was. Other than that, I thought it was very good.
Yeah, like I said, I think my most favorite part of that episode was like the subplot with the handyman.
Yeah.
Where like AI was taking over.
Yeah.
This is the favorite part is like where the Mexican guy pulls up and he's like get out from in front of the Home Depot, you're making it look all shitty. He's like, I'll trade you. I work in HR. I'll trade you human resources for if you retile my bathroom.
Yeah. Oh man, I like the part where they're fussing about the black woman being Cartman to PC principal, and he was like, "Sounds like you had the problem, Kyle." Did you watch the season premiere of Invincible?
I haven't yet. That's one of the ones I gotta get caught up on.
You gotta watch that and the one-off episode. Hey, it's really not gonna matter if you don't watch the one-off episode. It's about Adam Eve. It's okay. It's a decent episode, but it's not. It's kind of like a filler episode.
No.
It was like a little, tiding the masses over a little bit before we released the.
Is this supposed to be like kind of what happens in between seasons 1 and 2? Sort of deal with the character? No,
it gives a lot of her backstory and like how her powers work and how she got them and that kind of thing.
Okay.
But it was really good. They kind of hinted at this like kind of quasi Super Saiyan thing that she can do.
Oh yeah.
So that was pretty neat. It was like the only reason they would have shown that is that's going to come back at a later point.
Like Kaioken?
Yeah, Kaioken. But the season 2 premiere of Invincible, season 2, it was good. I definitely felt like, like, have you ever watched a season of something and then like there's a really long time in between that season and the next one?
Yeah.
And then when it comes back, it kind of feels different.
Yeah.
That's not the case here at all. Like it very much feels exactly the same, which is good. But at the same time, it kind of feels like a whole lot of nothing happens.
Really?
Yeah. There's a lot of like.
They're working off source material though, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
No.
yeah. The comic's done. I'm pretty sure.
No.
Like it's all the way through. But in this episode, it just kind of felt like they spent a lot of time kind of re-establishing characters.
A little bit over a year.
Yeah, but it's been a minute.
No.
So you can't really fault them for that. But
I think it would be different if it wasn't on a streaming service. I think since it is on a streaming service and you have access to that back catalog,
right?
I don't think they should spend as much time rehashing characters again.
Yeah, that's actually interesting that you say that. I wonder if like writing, if streaming as like a structure, the way watching stuff is structured. I wonder if streaming has affected the way people write things.
Maybe. I mean, because you have access to those episodes.
Yeah.
I remember, like, when Lost came on, like, a long time ago, like, there wasn't, I don't think at that time they didn't have, like, a back catalog that you could access. You kind of had to, you either had to watch it, the premiere, which was, like, on Sunday night or whatever, and if you didn't catch it, then they played again, like, the following Monday.
Yeah.
Right? And then they would, like, sparsely kind of have it throughout the week.
Right.
But like with now, that's not really so much the case. Like nobody really watches live TV other than for sports.
Yeah.
I mean, sports is propping up live TV. I mean, there's
absolutely.
There's like nothing going on with live TV that anybody's interested in.
Right.
So for something like that with like a series, I really don't see why. I feel like you could like progress the story and not have to like rehash like character development. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The pacing definitely is different.
Yeah.
You know, in TV shows these days, like the way just, you know, on a per episode basis, the pacing is definitely, it's more what's the word? Easily digestible, you know, via a binging kind of mindset, I guess you could say. Because like if you go and you watch an old TV show, like Lost, for example, on a streaming service, I think it's on Hulu right now. If you go and you watch it,
the pacing is really strange.
The pacing's very odd because it was written and shot and edited with the idea that there was going to be commercial breaks every so often. So, you know, when you're streaming it, there's like all these very strange edits.
Right.
And you know, you'll have two characters who will have a conversation, and then it'll fade to black, and then it'll come back to those same exact same two characters, and they'll rehash what they just said.
Right.
And you know, when you're streaming something and you're binging it, that's very strange.
Right.
But when it was coming out live every week,
I feel like that would be very like clumsy to like as a writer to be like, okay, like I have to
definitely.
Like when is like so this is a 22-minute episode with 8 minutes worth of commercials. So where are my commercial breaks? And like having to be like, okay, I have to like wrap up some dialogue here.
Like scripting around that. Yeah.
Like I feel like that would be hard as a writer, I think, to like be like, how do I convey the story?
Right.
And you know, but also like have these breaks, whereas like there's going to be a 4-minute break, 2 4-minute breaks, or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that is strange. And, you know, part of the reason why they do that thing where, like, when you come back from commercial break, they'll have the characters, like, say what they just said again, is because, you know, people's attention spans suck. Like, you just watched, like, 5 or 6 commercials.
Right.
You know, you just got bombarded with a whole bunch of information.
Right.
And now you're back in the show, and it's like we got to remind you, like, what just happened before, we disappeared for 8 minutes there.
Right. Well, I mean, I haven't watched it, so I haven't watched that yet. I got caught up on the Pandaverse episode.
Yeah.
And I also watched the series finale for Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
Which I thought was, as far as like writing is concerned, like I couldn't ask for a better storyline than what they provided.
Absolutely. I mean, I started watching that show in 2013.
Yeah.
Like that's how long I've been watching this show. And there's only 4 seasons.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just there's so much time in between, you know.
Well, he was also writing the source material
at the same time.
So you kind of had to wait in order.
Yeah, which I'm glad that they did that. I'm glad that they didn't have a whole bunch of filler because it would have been a nightmare.
Right.
Otherwise. But, you know, I'm very, you know, I feel like season 2 going into season 3 is where like the biggest twist is, I think, in that story, as far as like the state of the world.
Right.
And when I remember watching, when that part came along, I was like, now I don't know what to think of this story.
Right.
And like what's actually going on or whatever.
Yeah.
But as time went on, it made sense and it all tied together well. But I felt like for a show like that, the series finale for Attack on Titan was as good a series finale of anything I've seen so far, because they did a really good job wrapping things up.
Right.
Which, you know, there's a ton of loose ends and, you know, just stuff that they gave up on.
Right.
Well, we're used to that being the case.
Right.
Case in point, Game of Thrones.
Right.
Attack on Titan wrapped everything up, and it gave every single one of those threads and like character moments just enough time, just the amount of time that they needed to do what they needed to wrap up before moving on to the next thing. And it didn't feel, to me, it was, you know, it was an hour and a half, so I think it was like a feature length thing. But you know, It didn't feel rushed. The pacing felt totally normal for what they were trying to do.
Right.
I couldn't have been more pleased with it. I was very happy with it.
Yeah, I really appreciated it. It seems like nowadays everybody's always like trying to do this thing where they try to like justify the actions of the villain.
Yeah.
And so, the nice thing about Attack on Titan was you watch the main protagonist turn into the villain.
Yeah.
Right? And like you see the storyline and how he gets to that point.
So you totally understand why he's doing what he's doing.
The really funny thing about what happens is at the end of season 3, you don't get that insight from him like anymore.
Yeah, he's kind of a stranger to you.
Yeah, he's a stranger to you, so you don't know like what's going on,
what he's thinking,
why is he acting the way that he's acting.
Yeah. And
I thought they did a really good episode, they did really well in the last episode to wrap that up.
Yeah.
And for him to essentially be like, he's like, I'm going insane.
Yeah.
He's like, because I see the future and the past all at once.
And the present.
It's
all happening simultaneously.
It's all happening simultaneously.
Yeah.
He's like, there's nothing I can do to stop it. He's like, the main scheme of things, everything works out the same way all the time. I've lived this life a million times.
Yeah.
Which...
Yeah, when he put it that way, you're like, oh shit, like that.
I was like, oh, that makes a lot.
That would make you go crazy.
Yeah, I was like, because I like the actions, like I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
like the way that they wrapped it up, and so I don't know. I thought it was good. I thought it was good that there wasn't a redemption arc for him. It just was what it was.
Yeah.
Like it was it was senseless and pointless.
Yeah,
and it just happened.
Which was kind of the message of the whole show. Is just the senseless, pointless violence of the human nature.
Right, and then it continued.
Nothing changed.
It just continued.
It was, I had said that it struck a weird balance between being optimistic and being pessimistic.
Right.
Right, because, obviously things, never really got any better.
Right.
But all like the characters that we watched in this story, they lived to be old and they died and they lived full lives. So they didn't get to see that nothing changed. In fact, things got worse.
Right.
But, for them, they had like a happy
Well, it's the human
almost.
condition,
It's
right?
the human condition,
right?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like what my child and my grandchildren and great-grandchildren will experience. I won't...
It's not
I won't
unique.
see that.
Yeah.
I won't see the entire timeline of the human race.
Right, yeah.
Like, that's not something that I'll get to experience.
Yeah.
I live in this very, like, small, like, time section that really fucking sucks.
Just a little fraction. This little stinky little sliver that we have.
But, yeah, I think that episode was written about as well
as it could have been.
As you could write like a series finale. I think that level of writing, and I think it was written. I mean, obviously, like I don't know the name of the guy that wrote the manga or wrote the source material.
Yeah,
but it seems to me like it was his idea.
Yeah,
right. Like he was the
person. It definitely felt like the same idea from point A to point B.
And I think you can really tell that as opposed to like when you have showrunners that come in and you've got a bunch of people that are trying to put their fucking spin on everything, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's sort of like you said. It's like
it felt like one person's vision,
right?
Yeah.
So like with the Game of Thrones thing, like in the final season, it's like what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like this goes against everything that we've established thus far.
We had these two ding dongs come in to wrap it up in 8 episodes, and then that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of really good character moments, namely with the biggest thing, of course, was Mikasa having to come to grips with the fact that she's going to have to kill Eren.
Right.
And like throughout the whole series, she's tried to protect him. She ended up being the one who had to kill him.
Right.
And they gave that moment just enough emotion. They didn't she didn't like languish over it like before doing it too long or whatever.
Like this sucks, but I know what I have to do.
It is what it is. I got to do it.
Right.
Then of course you have Reiner, who only ever wanted to be good enough for his parents.
Right.
And like he got a moment at the end with his mom where she told him like I love you, and
right.
So there's a lot of great moments like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like they really wrapped everything up pretty well in the final episode. Like I said, there was some
and a gorgeous episode too. So many cool shots.
Oh yeah. There were some callbacks there, like the leaves like floating through the air right before it pans down to the tree.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, that's in every single like outro that's been thus far. So that was nice for them to be like, oh, you remember this?
Yeah.
Like here's where this is from.
We've had that idea since 2013.
Yeah. So that was cool. I like that a lot. Yeah. So that like little stuff like that where you kind of notice.
Yeah. I like the end credits thing too, where they were doing that time lapse. Then all of a sudden, like they started building like buildings and skyscrapers and technology, which was weird to see in that setting, because it was kind of like a quasi medieval setting this whole time.
Right.
And then like early 1920s on the other side of the world.
Right.
And then like the warfare broke out, and like there was a lot of information that got compacted into like 30 seconds. But they did a great job saying everything they needed to say. Yeah. It was really good.
Yeah, like I said, I think my favorite part about that whole entire episode was that they didn't allow the redemption arc, because there was no redemption to be had. Yeah. So, which was nice compared to like what you kind of get nowadays, where it's like, oh, we'll just reverse the multiverse. And
yeah.
Like,
here comes the Deus Ex Machina thing. It fixes everything button.
Yeah. As don't.
There was a very powerful moment in that finale where the rumbling was still going on, and all the big titans were walking, and all those people were like falling off the cliff or whatever, and that woman fell off the cliff, and she
handed her
all she could do was throw her baby back to the crowd, and in the crowd they kept passing the baby further and just giving it as much of a chance as possible. And I was like, dang, that was really powerful. Like I kind of like choked up like a little bit.
Yeah, that was a good shot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just like I said, you can really tell the difference between when it's an idea from an individual as opposed to like an idea from like a conglomeration of people.
Absolutely. It just feels so much more genuine.
Right.
And good. It's better. Right. It's better that way.
Well, I mean, I think, have you like read any like the reviews or anything for the new Marvels movie? Like it's getting shit on.
I read that it had like a box office weekend of like $43 million.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah, I read.
And I think there's I think there's a lot going on there. I think there's a lot of facets as to why it's bombing so bad.
Yeah.
I think that Brie Larson, for the most part, is extremely unlikable.
Yeah.
I think that people just
she did herself no favors.
No. Yeah, none.
When Captain Marvel was a thing.
No. Yeah. I mean, I think there's that. There's also that the character is just boring. Like it's just like Superman's boring.
It's boring for the same reason that Superman is.
Right.
Like you can't hurt me. Like how do you make me interesting?
Right.
Yeah, I have no problems.
Right.
Yeah.
There's like that, and then it's like there's a lot of people trying to like put their little spin on the movie. I think that's one of the reasons why up until like Endgame, because like Stan Lee was very involved. Like up until. Like that final movie. He's the person who kind of was like in charge of the entire thing. Like there's like this is his IP. So all these kind of mean something to him as opposed to, somebody that's like, oh, I kind of like it, I guess.
I got hired to do this.
Yeah, I just want to make some money.
Yeah.
So I mean there's that. The character's boring for the same part. Is like there's just nothing interesting about a character that can overcome everything. There's there's really no
such thing as adversity.
Right.
Yeah.
There's like that, and then there's
it's just not relatable.
No, it's not relatable at all as a character. That's why everybody likes Batman so much, because Batman doesn't have.
He's just a dude.
He's just a guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's very rich, but
and he can beat the shit out of people.
Yeah.
Which we've all wanted to do.
But like, there's that. It's like there's like the whole like man bad. Like men bad deal or whatever.
Men bad, women good.
Yeah.
There's a, I don't know if this is real, but I saw it going around Twitter. It was a quote from the movie where somebody said, they're like, Monica, you need to fly. And she was like, I don't know how. And they said, use black girl magic. And they're like, and this is an actual quote from the movie.
I've seen it.
Oh, you've seen the movie?
No, I have not seen the movie. I have seen.
You've seen that scene?
I've seen that scene.
That's real?
Yeah. So there's like.
What fucking idiot wrote that?
Well, Samuel Jackson delivered it.
Oh.
So
the reason they gave it to him, because if anybody was going to give that line a pass, it would have been because Samuel Jackson said it.
So like I've seen the scene or whatever, and there's like a person like falling from the sky, and. I don't know any of these characters. It's the black girl that's in the movie, right? Yeah. And she's like, I can't fly. I don't know how to fly. Yeah. And like Samuel Jackson just turns and looks at her and he says, black girl magic. Yeah. And then she like starts flying. Like, it's like, what the fuck is going on here? And it's funny because they kind of slow it down. He sounds like Steve Harvey when he says it.
They slowed it down.
Yeah, well, then obviously it was like the spoof cut that I watched. Where it was like, can you believe they actually fucking delivered this?
He's just like, melanin power.
So, I mean, it's just stuff like that. I mean, like I said, there's a lot going on there, I think, as to why people, and plus that, and there's just fucking superhero fatigue. Like,
well, yeah. Oh, yeah. At this point, are you kidding me? I mean, they should have stopped at Endgame. We've said it 1,000 times. Endgame should have been it.
Yeah.
You know, and then, like, you should have gave it, like, 10 years before anything else.
Yeah, I mean, there's not only that, but, I mean, it's like they just flooded the market.
Yeah, with TV shows and podcasts and, you know, I don't know, there might have been a fucking book. Who's reading a fucking Captain Marvel book? Not me.
Well,
it's
I mean,
too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
It's like, and then you have to like watch. From what I understand, they were like, you have to like watch this episode to like understand this character. It's like, so you have to be wrapped up in all this shit just to go see a standalone movie. I gotta do
homework.
Yeah,
I gotta do homework to go see this movie. Yeah, go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
I'm not doing that.
I don't fucking have time for this.
So how long before you start making us write a paper?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the whole thing. Like they're not doing themselves any favors. They need to stop making superhero movies for an extended period of time, and just it needs to go away.
Yeah,
for quite a while.
Yeah, like
I'm kind of excited to see the next Deadpool movie.
Well, yeah, that's different because it's so tongue in cheek,
right? It's like, but it's not. It's just different. Like it's not.
Yeah,
it's like this is a spoof.
Yeah,
like on.
It's like a parody movie almost.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It you know. So supposedly there's rumors of Robert Downey Jr. reprising his role as Iron Man, which was
Robert, stay away.
Well, I mean, yeah, like you did your time. Like, what do you, you know? It's not. We don't need it anymore.
Well, it's like it's just he's not going to be able to save a floundering franchise.
No. Well, he did it once with Iron Man.
Right.
Because prior to Iron Man, the thing they had came out before was that god awful Hulk movie.
Yeah.
And then Iron Man came out.
It was only one bad movie. It wasn't a back catalog.
No, just shit.
Of horrific intellectual property.
Just fucking schlock for 7 years. But, you know, the first Iron Man movie came out, that kicked the whole thing off because people just loved him in that role and like just that.
No, I mean, yeah, he was
perfect
for that role.
So, I mean, I doubt he can do it twice.
Right.
But, you know, it just seems like, you know, if they're going to do that, also, doesn't that kind of like cheapen his sacrifice at the end of Endgame?
It does.
Because it was a big thing that he died and he was permanently dead forever.
It was sort of a big thing when Thanos snapped half the universe out of existence.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, yeah, there's this thing called the multiverse.
Yeah.
And we're going to spend 5 minutes sort of kind of explaining what it is.
No, it was time travel.
Oh, time travel.
It was time travel, but they did it through the quantum realm.
Yeah.
Ugh. Shut up. You fucking nerds.
Jesus Christ. And it's like they take whatever like might be difficult to explain, they just like throw quantum in front of it.
And then they had like some weird thing where they like made fun of Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Like also it's weird. I don't this is kind of a pet peeve of mine. I don't like when pop culture references pop culture. Because then in my head I'm immediately like, okay,
yeah, it's immersion breaking.
Yeah, it's very immersion breaking. Like, so in their world they have Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Like, so if like Michael J. Fox he walked into the room, they would be like, oh my God, it's Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
You know, like it's so fucking weird to me.
Right. It would be like in a Star Wars movie and there's like a Funko Pop of like the Hulk.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck is this?
Don't speak that into existence because that might actually fucking happen.
It's like a Funko Pop of like the She-Hulk twerking or something.
It's just Megan Thee Stallion, just like her character as a lawyer or whatever the fuck it was. So fucking dumb.
It's like you're not treating like any of these properties with like any reverence at all.
Just none.
Just like
none. It's just like dancing monkeys is all it is. Yeah.
You're just pissing on the grave of like all the
legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, somebody had pointed out like the difference that 4 years makes in the scene in Endgame where Iron Man is dying and Rhodey is comforting him.
No.
It was like 4 years 4 years from when we first saw this, they're about to bring the dead guy back, so his sacrifice didn't mean anything.
Right.
And Rhodey is actually a green alien playing a role instead of his actual friend.
No.
It's like, you guys got to hang it up. You got to hang it up.
It's done at this point, and they need to do the same thing with Star Wars.
Yeah, we're done.
We're done.
We're done with it. There's no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a great run. You overstayed your welcome and soured the thing a little bit. But just let it be.
Yeah. I mean, and, you know, we could go on and on about Star Wars, but...
As we have.
But,
yeah.
I mean, the worst thing they ever did was say, like, oh, all the books that were wrote, like, we're taking those out of canon.
Yeah.
It's like, well...
Well, and, you know, and then they acted like they didn't have anything to go off of when people started complaining. They're like, oh, well, we didn't have any kind of, lore to pull from. It was like
you did it to your fucking self.
You did it to yourself. You came out and you said all of the books and the comics and the games and everything else that came out in this 20-year span.
Yeah.
None of that means a fucking thing.
Right.
We're going to do our own thing over here. Brand new, fresh thing. You know what? Sometimes turds are fresh.
Yeah. It's like, instead, you stuck Lizzo and Jack Black into a fucking Mandalorian episode.
Look, I love Jack Black. What the fuck is he doing in Star Wars?
I don't want to see his stupid fucking face.
Because it's just Jack Black in Star Wars. That's all it is.
Like, I feel like he's going to, like, say something fucking stupid and play guitar.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's so fucking weird, man. You know, I feel like that was why. I feel like they knew that, right, going into making The Force Awakens. That's why they chose Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley and oh God, what is his name? The guy that plays Finn.
Oh, damn it!
It was just on the tip of my tongue. And now I'm going to seem like a racist because I didn't remember the black guy's name, but I remember the other two white people's name. This is going to drive me insane.
I know who you're talking about.
Who played Finn in Star Wars?
You know, the guy that the Chinese minimized.
Yeah, that guy. John Boyega.
Yeah, John Boyega. Yeah.
So all those people, I'm pretty sure. I think Adam Driver had done some like movie stuff before.
No.
But I think Daisy Ridley was like a Broadway actor. Or she was like a stage actress or something. No, she was in commercials or something like that.
Yeah, I think Adam Driver had done some stuff.
Yeah.
But he was freshly out of the Marines.
Yeah. So they chose a lot of people who were like...
Not well known.
Because, we have said before, when you have somebody who's crazy famous and you stick them in your thing, especially in like a fantasy world.
Right.
It's just like, oh, that person, that real world person is in...
Right.
This fantasy world.
Right. I mean, it takes a very special kind of actor to pull that off.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I would really classify Robert Downey Jr. as... I mean, he was famous before Iron Man, but his fame, like, shot to, like, another level.
Because of Iron
Man.
As far as everybody was concerned, he was Iron Man. So when he was on screen, it was like, fuck, there he is. There's Iron Man.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the best example of like an actor being able to do that is when Johnny Depp took the part in Pirates of the Caribbean, because he was pretty famous.
Yeah, he was
prior to that.
Yeah, I think Pirates increased his fame with like younger audiences.
Right.
Because I mean,
he was very famous for like Gilbert Grape and there was some other movies and stuff. It's sort of like Brad Pitt. Like Brad Pitt had been in a whole bunch of movies, and then he was in Fight Club.
Yeah,
it's like when you're watching that, you're not like, oh, that's Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Like
that's just the character.
Yeah, that's just the character.
Yeah, Johnny Depp is another one of those that, there can never be another Jack Sparrow.
No,
like he owned that role so hard. I mean, it would be a nigh impossible task to recast.
Right. It's the same thing with Wolverine. Hugh Jackman
is Wolverine.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have to let decades pass.
Could you imagine there being another Deadpool?
No.
Other than Ryan Reynolds?
No. He's the character now.
Yeah, I mean, in the comics, they even said that Deadpool looks like is like a cross between a Ryan Reynolds and a testicle. Yeah. That's how they describe him in the comics.
Well, it also helps with Deadpool that Ryan Reynolds actually really likes that character.
Yeah.
Like, he is really a fan of the character.
Yeah. And I like that he got to reprise the role, because prior to that, he played Deadpool was X-Men Origins or whatever.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, where they sewed his mouth shut.
Yeah.
It's like the whole point of Deadpool is that he's annoying and he talks the whole time and he makes little quips.
Yeah.
And then they his swords are going to come out of his wrists like Wolverine does. Or come out like between his knuckles or something like this.
It's like just this long, like a broadsword.
Yeah, it looked really dumb. It looked stupid.
I don't know. Yeah, that's... Yeah.
He just shaved his head and his eyebrows.
Yeah,
He's like,
so stupid.
What the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm glad that he got to reprise that role. Hopefully the send-off for that character will be along... It'll be different, but...
Yeah.
It's like I said, I've constantly said the best superhero movie in the past 5 to 6 years, essentially since Endgame, has been Logan.
Yeah, Logan, yeah.
Yeah, by a fucking long shot.
Yeah. It's really good. Logan did a great job. I appreciate a movie that can establish an atmosphere and maintain it.
Right.
Like The Road.
Right, yep.
I mean, that... fuck, the whole movie's gray.
Yeah.
It's just gray.
It makes you feel bad at the end of it.
Sad and
Is that the one with Viggo Mortensen in it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that movie... If any of you haven't watched it, you got to go watch The Road.
Yeah.
And just like... You're going to feel really bad afterward.
Yeah.
But that's the point. The movie's supposed to make you feel that way.
Is that the final scene where it's like his kid or whatever? He's like essentially...
They was trying to get him to safety or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like he shot a flare into that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. The guy's like got this flare boiling inside of him. He's like, ah!
Like the guy's kid is like next to him.
Yeah, just like looking at it wide-eyed. It's just like, because I mean, the whole point of that movie is like the horrors of reality and coming to bear on the innocence of a child.
Right.
Is the whole point of that movie. That's what that movie is. And it's a hard thing to watch because I feel like everybody, for the most part, has some sense of, wanting to protect children from the horrors of reality.
Yeah. And that movie is pretty old at this point. I mean, I think that movie came out in like the late 2000s, maybe.
Yeah.
So
I feel like the only color in that movie happens is when they find that Coke vending machine.
Yeah.
And they get that Coke out of it.
No.
And it's like the only color you've seen in like the past 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's such a fucking depressing. It's an amazing movie, but it's fucking depressing.
It is very depressing.
I haven't watched it since I became a father. I'm sure that it would hit much harder now.
Yeah. Viggo Mortensen kills in that role.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I wish he would be in more stuff. Because I feel like I've really only seen him in that, and of course Lord of the Rings, and I can't think of anything else.
No.
I'm sure he's probably been in stuff, but I guess nothing's coming to mind.
And I think that Lord of the Rings, too, is a really good example of really paying attention to, like, the most important parts of information when it comes to like storytelling.
Yeah.
As opposed to like you look at like The Hobbit. Like there is no reason why The Hobbit should have been 3 fucking movies. We all know why you're doing what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
We all get it.
Yeah. That's why like the last movie in the Hobbit trilogy, the first 50 minutes of that movie are just a bunch of people standing around.
No.
And it's a very strange thing to see.
No.
I remember when I saw it, I didn't see it. I think I saw the first Hobbit movie in theaters, but then I saw the other two like when they came out on like a streaming platform because I'm not going to another theater to watch any more of that.
But I specifically remember when the Lord of the Rings movies came out, and it was a fucking experience.
Yeah.
Like the first one came out, and everybody was blown the fuck away.
Yeah, just because like the practical effects and like just so much of it was just
like when they had like the Nazgul like came on the screen and everything.
Yeah, I mean there were so many moments where it was just like you're like, oh, this is cinema is different now.
Right.
Like this changed things.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think it was. Lord of the Rings came out around the same time, maybe a year or two later than like the prequels, maybe. around 2000.
Yeah, around that
2000.
time, yeah.
And so, but the storytelling of those two franchises
Couldn't be further apart.
were just massively different.
Yeah.
It's like the Lord of the Rings movies, like that. Those were not meant for children at the time.
No.
That was specifically meant for adults.
Yeah.
There was no Jar Jar Binks in this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, there's like a Jar Jar Binks character running around with like Gimli and Legolas.
right. It's like,
Misa see orcs.
yeah. Like the tone.
They're killing me. I just got in my head. There's like a bunch of orcs holding Jar Jar Binks down. It's like stabbing him.
Like the tone that they set in that movie could have been the tone that they set for the prequels.
Yeah.
Because you're telling the story of how he turns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that would have been perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like just you're working your way into that.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the writing and everything probably didn't help with that. Or it's just like Hayden Christensen at the end of it. It's like, I hate you.
I hate you. You're my brother, Anakin. He's like burnt. He's just like a crispy nugget.
It's like, I hate you.
Oh my god. And then he's like, when they turn him into Darth Vader and they lean him up or whatever,
Yeah.
and he's like, it's James Earl Jones's voice out of nowhere. It was like they were up against the wall with that, right? Because they were like, what do we do? Do we pitch down Hayden Christensen's voice, or do we just bite the bullet and have all of a sudden he's James Earl Jones? And he was like, where's Padme? Is she safe?
Yeah.
And he's like, it seems in your anger she died. And he's like, no. And I did this slow zoom out. It's so fucking dramatic. Stupid. So dumb. But I love it, though. I love the prequels. Like, I don't care. I know that they're trash, but I love them.
Well, I love the prequels for a different reason as to why I love the original trilogy.
Yeah. Honestly, to me, the prequels feel more like Star Wars
Yeah.
than the original trilogy does to me. And I think it's just because there's so much Jedi stuff going on.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, that's what Star Wars always was.
Right.
Just the Jedis, you know?
Right.
Like when they're on Geonosis and they're in the big pit, they're all having to fight. It's just like 5 million Jedis.
Yeah, it was a cool scene.
You're like, well, fucking kids sick. They're fighting these bug men and robots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think, and the sad part about it is that I know that Disney can write a good Star Wars movie because they did it.
They've done it before.
They did it with Rogue One. Rogue One was a really good Star Wars movie.
You know, a lot of people say that they think Rogue One is boring.
Really?
That's a very common.
I like that movie.
Yeah, I do too. I like it a lot.
Out of all the movies that they released during that time, that's
Yeah.
the best one.
I think that a lot of people don't appreciate, you know, where in the story that movie lies.
Right.
Because it is it is in a weird spot because it's right in between. It's really far after the end of the prequels,
Right.
but it's like literally like the 3 minutes leading up to the first movie.
Right.
But there's a lot that I like about that movie, you know, namely,
Ip Man.
well, yeah, Donnie Yen for
Yeah.
sure. I love the shit out of that guy. But you know, the two main characters, they fucking die
Yep.
in a big fire, and it was like there was no thing that saved them at the very end. It was
No.
just a very real thing that happened. The whole time they're you know. They're pushing this idea that these people are like freedom fighters and like they're up against the odds.
Well.
And it was like, it wouldn't have made sense for them to suddenly be saved out of nowhere.
Right.
It was like they knew going in, they said it themselves, like this is a suicide mission.
Right.
And it was, they all
And it
fucking
was,
died.
yeah.
Everybody that went down to that planet, they didn't make it back. They
Right.
died down there.
Yeah, like I said, it's nice to see a movie be like, no, we're sticking with this.
Yeah.
This is how this is going to end.
This is the theme we established. This
Right.
is what we're staying with.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate when you have a movie that just does a fucking heel turn.
Oh yeah.
And like all of a sudden, it's like a really pessimistic movie. All of a sudden, there's like this big optimistic thing at the end, and it's like, what?
Right.
That's not the story you were telling.
Right.
That's a whole different thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, that's one of the reasons why, especially with the Lord of the Rings movies, like from Fellowship of the Ring all the way up until the very last, the end of the third movie.
Yeah.
Like it's just you get the same thing.
Yeah.
Like you know where this is headed.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I think that trilogy, out of all the recent trilogies that have been released, is probably one of the best ones.
It feels like a trilogy.
Right, exactly. Like this
feels,
is heading in
yeah.
a direction.
It feels like 3 movies, like 3 separate movies telling the same story.
Right.
Instead of like 3 sections of one movie.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of things that are written as trilogies nowadays, which maybe I don't have a ton of examples, but they feel like they abruptly end.
Right.
Like the first movie will kind of end out of nowhere, and you're like, "What? Like who? Wait a second, nothing resolved."
Right.
And you're like, "Oh, they're gonna make this. Oh, okay, they're wanting to make this a trilogy."
Right.
But with Lord of the Rings, it was different because you knew going into it, like
this is there's 3 books here.
Yeah.
Like we have to progress through this.
Yeah.
Well, especially too, I remember like in the third movie, because up until that point I had not read the books, and so I didn't realize like kind of as far as like how the story progresses.
Yeah.
Like when they had like the major battle, like right there at the end, it wasn't Rohan. It was before they go to Sauron.
Minas Tirith?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like when they're having that battle, there's so many fantastically shot, like large scale battle scenes. Like for the time period in which that was shot.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that it still looks good today.
Right. There are some shots, like there's Saruman when like there's like when the Ents come down out of the and it's like you can obviously tell like there's small like fixtures that they're like pushing over or whatever, but if you kind of look past that like, but I appreciate what they did there because they didn't try to like put a bunch of CGI in it. So but like that final battle right there at the end, you're like, oh fuck, that's the last one. And then like while they're like, no, now we have to go to the gates.
We have to go to the final one.
And you're like, oh, they're gonna like, nobody's left.
Yeah. With who?
Yeah, with who?
Who are you going to the gate with?
Yeah, it's like him and like 15 people.
Yeah. And then he's like, for Frodo, and he runs off, and it's like, you really put a lot of faith that anybody was going to charge in behind you.
Right. It's like, how do you know he could be hundreds of miles away?
He could be fucking dead.
Yeah, he could be dead on the side of a hill somewhere.
What if, like, while he was running towards the army, he just kind of out of the corner of his eye saw 2 dead hobbits?
Like skeletons. He's like, fuck.
Like with the little thing around their neck. Like, wow, they decomposed quick. There was a a meme. And don't come at me for this because I'm just saying the meme I saw of Aragorn saying for George Floyd, and then it's this shot of him running, but he's pushing a buggy towards a target that's on fire. Oh man.
Oh god.
Speaking of all that, this is kind of a related thing. Have you seen that ahead of President Xi Jinping's visit to San Francisco,
they cleaned up San Francisco?
They
removed all the homeless people.
Rounded up all the homeless people overnight, and no one knows where they are. Isn't that fucking scary? Yeah, and they built like all these barriers along the wall, along the roads. I did see that.
Yeah, I saw somebody had like posted a video.
I've been assured that walls don't work, so I don't know what that's about.
But it was like all these like chain link fences they have like set up like on the
side of the road.
Side of the road.
I want to know what they did with the home. Where are they?
Fucking mincemeat.
Like, what'd you do with them? Like, because you're going to have to put them back.
Yeah.
Because like people are going to really have questions if they're just gone forever.
Maybe this like the Democratic leaders out there, they're just like, listen. Like, we know that they're right, and, like, we can't be having all these homeless people just milling about out here. So we're going to round them up.
Yeah.
And then we're going to throw them out in the ocean.
Like they took him out of like a fucking tugboat and just dumped him.
Well, I mean, from what I hear, and this is allegedly, I don't know if this is true or not, but I have heard that California has a real bad habit of like giving like one-way cruise tickets to homeless people.
Oh, they sent them to Hawaii, yeah.
Yeah, they sent them out to Hawaii.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know, maybe Hawaii is getting ready to have a big...
just a mass influx of them.
Cargo ship of
homeless
people.
No wonder Native Hawaiians hate America.
Yeah. It's like
no fucking wonder.
Like a World War C.
Yeah. They're like climbing up over the walls. Trying to get it like a quarter.
Big pillar smash into a fucking resort.
Horrible. I just think that, it should really be a wake-up moment for the denizens of San Francisco. You should now realize that your government has the ability and the desire to get rid of the homeless issue and clean up the streets. They just aren't going to do it for you. They're going to do it for Chinaman when he comes over.
No.
Really, the fucking president of China, do you think... he doesn't know what San Francisco is like?
Right.
You think he has no fucking idea?
Yeah.
You think he's going to get here and be like, wow, I've never even seen a picture of San Francisco. What a beautiful town this is. No, he knows.
Yeah, he knows.
He absolutely knows. It would have been better if you left them in place.
You don't think there's like some guy where there's like showing him the poop map app?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's seen the poop map.
Yeah.
For sure he's seen the poop map.
It's such a shame, too, because I remember growing up, like you had like Full House and like all these shows and everything. Like San Francisco was supposed to be like a really nice place.
Yeah.
And
it's supposed to be.
It was supposed to be. And just like poor policy has just fucking decimated that fucking place.
If any place that has such an amount of human fecal matter in the streets that someone felt compelled to create an app to show you where it all is. I mean, that should just tell you. That should tell you everything you need to know.
Right. And it just makes me sad because, like, I've been to California. California is a beautiful place. I absolutely love California.
I know that California has a lot of beautiful, like, natural.
Absolutely. You have like Sequoia National Park. You have like the Redwood National Forest, like up north.
Yeah, and the fact that it stretches all the way from like the south to the north of the, all that coastline and everything. You get like there's a little piece of everything: mountains, desert,
everything.
Ice.
California is a massive state.
Yeah,
I mean, like I remember, like I've been out there many times for work with the company I used to work for, and I mean, every time I've been out there, I was just like I'm going through like Tahoe, like the Sierra Nevada mountain range and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It's awesome to go visit, but because of the policies that they have out there, I could never imagine like living, because you can't protect yourself, you can't protect your family. It's like, so regardless of how like beautiful it is, it's like you just can't.
You can't live there.
You can't live there.
You can't live amongst those people.
Right.
Yeah. There was a guy in, New York City's another one like that. There was that guy, was it Daniel Penny? Is the guy's name? Mm-hmm. He put that, there was some fucking lunatic who was going crazy and threatening people on the subway. Daniel Penny put him in a chokehold, and the guy ended up passing away. And people really wanted it to be a deranged white man suddenly killed an innocent black man on this train. Like, he just fucking snapped and killed a black guy.
Right.
When that was not what happened.
Right.
Like, there's video evidence of him holding the guy. Of course, he's got him in a chokehold, but there's also a black guy there also holding the dude down.
Right.
It's unfortunate the guy passed away. Of course, that obviously wasn't the intent.
From what I hear, that guy had been having, like, mental episodes up until that point.
Yeah, there's plenty. There's also tons of videos of that guy, the crazy lunatic man, assaulting people in the subway station. Like, he's pushing people onto the tracks. He's an issue.
Right.
He's not anymore, but he was.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I just don't...
So you can't protect other people. You can't protect yourself.
Right. Yeah, it's like, what recourse are you giving people? It's like if the state will not enforce peace, like they want you to let them do, if they refuse to do so, then you have to do it.
You have to.
You have to.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not
You were obligated.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and let somebody murder me.
No.
Because they are brown and I am white.
I have a right to reject victimhood.
Yeah, it's like I'm just not...
And I will do it.
I don't understand how you can ask anybody to do that. It's like, this just doesn't make any sense. That goes against like all... It's like...
It goes against human nature.
Yeah, it goes against human nature. It just doesn't make any sense.
Just lay down and die?
Yeah.
For social justice?
No.
No, that's not happening.
Yeah.
Fuck you and fuck him.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I had a suicide vest, I would use that. Yeah. There was another guy that very recently, this woman was being mugged by a homeless man in New York City, and the guy in a subway station of all places, and the guy, a good Samaritan, he pulled out a handgun from his backpack and fired 2 warning shots, and the homeless man ran away and stopped assaulting this woman.
No.
Well, everyone freaked out that this guy had a gun. And
you weren't freaked out by the fact that somebody's getting mugged?
Yeah, and so they arrested that guy, and now he's in jail. And the woman that he saved from God knows what, from any number of horrors,
No.
she said she felt more afraid of the fact that that man had a gun than the fact that she was being actively assaulted by a deranged lunatic.
Yeah, I just don't like the people that like are like get off on the whole fucking gun thing. It's like, what makes you think if you call the cops, they don't just fucking shoot you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what? Like
they don't know what's going on.
Just because they have a badge, they're not going to shoot the fuck out of you. Like,
yeah. They have proven time and time again they will shoot you.
They'll shoot the fuck out of you.
They'll show up and shoot everybody in this bitch. Got no fucking qualms about it. They blew up like half of Harlem trying to get at one guy one time. No, it wasn't Harlem. It was somewhere in Philadelphia, I think it was. Was it Philadelphia? Yeah, I think it was Philadelphia. If I'm wrong about that, somebody let me know. It was one guy, it was a Black Panther guy, I think. And they literally were bombing buildings. The police.
Oh, nice.
Not the military, not the CIA, not the FBI, the police.
Well, it's sort of like when they were doing like when the whole George Floyd thing happened and like the police were like riding around in unmarked vans like shooting people with rubber bullets.
Yeah.
It's
just like willy-nilly.
Yeah, and then like there's like a group of like 3 people like open fire on them.
Yeah.
And then like, and then they want to get mad because somebody starts shooting back at them.
We didn't know. Nobody knows what the fuck you are. You're riding around in an unmarked van. You're wearing plain clothes and you're firing at people.
Yeah, even if you weren't, if you were riding around in a police car just shooting people indiscriminately, you deserve to get shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't give a fuck.
Like, in fact, I'm glad you got shot. If you're just driving around shooting people, out on the town, just shooting some folks. I saw a tweet today. It kind of cracked me up. It was very morbid. It was somebody who said, "Name a famous uncle-nephew duo," and lots of people were like naming like different artists or whatever. And somebody quote tweeted it and said the DC Snipers. That shit was crazy. Have you like watched videos or anything about them? That was insane. You want to talk about... That's a perfect example of somebody being radicalized because they didn't get the help they needed.
Right.
All that could have been avoided. That's the crazy thing about all of it, man. It all could have been avoided. None of it had to be this way.
What's the running meme? Was known to the FBI.
Was known to the FBI. Yep.
It seems to me like y'all do a whole bunch of fucking nothing.
Oh no, they go out to Utah and they blow up old white men in their trailers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's what they do.
All these problematic old white people.
Yeah, and they send fucking goon squads over to fucking New Jersey to manhunt a guy who posted a meme on January 6th. That's what they're spending their time doing. All these people that they know about, like the fucking wacko that shot all those people in Maine, they knew about that guy.
Right.
He said out loud to several people that he was gonna do it.
Right. And then people like they like told the cops like, "Hey, you need to be on the watch. You need to look out for this fucking guy.
Do something about this guy." Yeah. And then what do you know? What did he do? He went and he shot a bunch of people.
Yeah, he did the thing that he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
Imagine that might be the case.
When they tell you who they are, believe them.
Right. I don't know. It's just like that whole thing just... I don't understand what the fuck is going on. Like, is the simulation finally coming to an end? Like, it's just like falling in on itself.
I think it's just there's so many things that are wrong that it's just like the division between races.
No.
Like, namely white and black. The division between white America and black America is probably the worst it has ever been.
Right.
Just because the way that you hear these people speak about one another and
just the fucking vitriol
and justifying the shit that they do to one another's and justifying the things that happen to them. Like, there's just no humanity left.
No.
I don't know what it's going to take to fix that. I got no idea.
No.
I don't even know where to fucking start with that. And then you got people who, you know, with the whole trans ideology, there's fucking militant people in that. Fucking like the one that went and shot up the school, the Christian school.
Yeah.
You know, and did you read the Tranifesto? It released.
I saw that it got released.
Yeah.
I saw that there was
Did you see where I posted it on Facebook and then they took it down?
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's why I posted it, because I knew they would take it down. Yeah.
I mean, that just says a lot, doesn't it? It's like
Yeah.
the fact that it's like, why are you protecting somebody that committed mass murder against children?
Yeah.
Like, regardless of whatever the ideology
Well,
might
it was
be.
because we all knew what was going to
Well,
it was
yeah.
going to say. We all knew
Yeah.
what was in that Tranifesto.
Yeah, and apparently from what I've heard, like the 7 cops or whatever that released that information, they've all been fired.
Yeah. I doubt that it ends there. I doubt it ends with them being fired. They're
Right.
going to kill them, those men. I mean, that's like my little Alex Jones moment or whatever.
Yeah.
They're going to kill those men.
They're going to kill those men.
They're going to. They are. I mean, they fucking. It's like that fucking guy who had ties to the fucking the Clinton family, and they found him hung from a tree
With a shotgun.
with a shotgun wound to his chest, and they ruled it as a suicide. You mean to tell us, okay, which happened first? Did he blow a hole in his own chest and then hang himself?
Yeah.
Or was he and had the wherewithal to hold a gun out and shoot himself?
Yeah, and it wasn't like they found the gun like 100 feet away.
Yeah. What the fuck?
It's like he hung himself, shot himself, and then threw the gun.
Threw the gun. He tried really hard to make it look like a homicide. Oh, man.
Oh. So earlier I was
They could
watching.
have wrote Bill was here on the
Yeah.
fucking wall in his own blood. They're like, oh, suicide,
Yeah.
for sure.
I was speaking of dead people. I was watching. Have you seen Internet Historian's video on the guy that got trapped in the cave in Kentucky?
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was the one where the thing fell on his foot and they were like trying to get him out.
Yeah, and they like ran a wire to him and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a wire. They ran. It was. They had run a copper wire that like had a light bulb on it or whatever, and like they hooked up like a something to like when it was like he was breathing or whatever, they could see like the breaths or whatever. But at the end of the episode, he's apparently they finally got him out. And they just dug right down to him, and like pulled him out.
Yeah.
Like after he was dead, he'd been dead for a very long time.
Long dead.
Yeah, like months later.
Yeah.
And so
like being eaten like by bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they like pulled him out and they like buried him. They took a stalactite from the cave and like put it in the thing and like buried him, gave him a proper burial.
Yeah.
This guy like came along, it was a dentist, and offered to buy the farmland from like the drunk father for like $10,000. And so the guy sold him the land. And
That
so
had the cave on it.
Yeah, so the guy exhumed the body.
Oh my god.
And put it in a glass casket.
Oh my god.
Inside the cave. It was charging people 50 cents.
What an investment opportunity.
To come in and see the body of the guy. Well, like,
oh my god.
Like later, I forget how much later it was. There was like 2 guys and they like snuck into like the cave and like got the body out and put it in a bag and like drug it like a half a mile away and then went to go throw it off a ledge into like a river and the body didn't make it.
Oh
and
no.
So it was just,
like land on the bank.
It was just like hung up in a bush. So
God.
Like, the guy comes out the next day. It's like, where the fuck is the body? So he, like, gets the cops out there. They got bloodhounds. And they, like, find this body just, like, stuck out of this
like
bush.
half hanging out of a bag, like, crawled up in a bush.
And apparently, like, a leg was missing.
Oh, God. Oh, God. That's so fucked up.
When he said that, I burst out laughing. I was like, oh, my God. That's so funny.
Just gave the guy, like, no rest.
No.
None.
Zero respect.
No.
That's what I was telling Allison one time. I was like, you ever wonder... It's like, I hope that, like, when I'm dead, like, everybody just leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Like, have some fucking respect for people who are dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had to put up enough in this fucking life. Like, I don't need...
Yeah.
There's probably no telling what kind of stupid fucking app they're going to have. Where it's just like, they're going to be able to, like, bring me back from the dead. So you'd be like, we're going to do a big balk with...
They're going to bring you back from the dead. You're, like, going to suddenly, like, regain consciousness. And they're going to be like, we need you to move. Like, sir, we need you to move.
It's like doing a fucking dance.
Yeah. You'd be like the guy the deaf DJ. Did I tell you about the deaf DJ? The guy that had his grandmother's dead body in his backyard. Have we talked about him?
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, there's this guy on YouTube who he's a DJ and he's deaf. So make of that what you will. But he makes this YouTube video talking about how he's got a hold of his great grandma's dead body, like in her coffin or whatever. Yeah. And it's like out in his backyard under like a tarp, like sitting up on some cinder blocks.
Yeah.
And he's going through like he does like an unboxing video. And he like lifts the lid and he's like panning the camera like from her feet to her head.
Yeah.
And it's just this fucking mummy lady.
Yeah.
With
this poor old lady.
This green skin and like this sunken face. Yeah. And like this face. And he's just like filming this. And at one point he sets the camera down and he leans over and starts kissing her on the mouth. A dead fucking body. Like a 50, 60-year-old dead body.
Just have some fucking respect for the dead.
I just
could you not?
Could you not kiss the corpse?
Yeah.
What's it gonna take to get you to not do that?
It's like I see like these. There's like pictures of people like twerking on top of a grave. It's like,
yeah. What are we doing? We need to just wrap this up.
Yeah,
we're done
like,
here.
Are you gonna drop a shit on it or like a hot shit while you're like have some fucking respect?
You know, when I die, you just fucking cremate me and fucking flush me down the toilet. It just it doesn't even matter. I've spent so much of my life shitting. It would be fitting. I don't even know. I know for a fact that I don't want to be buried. Like,
I don't like that idea at all.
Like, well, I mean, it's not so much like claustrophobia or anything like that. It's just like, you know, I feel like that's taking up a lot of room.
Yeah.
Like at this point, like how many people, like, are we going to keep doing this? Not everybody can be buried. Let's go ahead and I guess what it is.
My thought would be either obviously cremation or like put me in one of those pods that like a tree grows out. Like make use of this thing.
Yeah. If you can make use of me.
Yeah,
do that.
Like stick me in like a fucking wall somewhere.
Yeah,
it's like
some mortar. Yeah,
it's like an eyeball like plopped out of it.
That'd be really scary for somebody to like find like when they're like remodeling. Yeah, bury me under the porch. That way when somebody just goes to remodel, they have to call the police. I don't know, and it's so expensive, and it's just it's a fucking racket like everything else.
No.
Buy,
like life and death insurance and all that shit.
Like, why can't you just put me in a pine box?
Throw me out back.
That worked for the fucking Wild West people for many, many years. And now all of a sudden I gotta have like a mahogany and teak wood like hand carved thing with.
I'm dead.
I'm fucking dead. I'm not gonna know.
Yeah, and you're sticking me inside a fucking a metal fucking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a metal tomb encased in concrete and like. No, I don't give a fuck. Dude, cut me in half and put me in 2 hefty bags. Like, what does it matter?
Yeah, I don't know.
But speaking of people who have no respect for others, why don't you take our Super Cringe Thursday post before we run out of time here?
So first of all, I want to apologize for posting a link to TikTok. I know that kind of goes against like it's a cardinal sin for our podcast here, but that was the only place I could find this. I looked it up on YouTube, but couldn't find it on YouTube as an alternative.
Yeah.
But for those of you who didn't see it, it is a woman who is recounting a date that she went on with someone that she had been ghosting. She says at the beginning that this guy had been messaging her and she hadn't been replying to him. When out of nowhere, he offered to take her to Fontaine's Oyster Bar in Atlanta, and she agreed to go because apparently they have the best oysters in Atlanta, for what that's worth. And the whole time she's on this date, she's sitting in this restaurant filming her fucking food with her fucking flashlight on her phone. And she is filming herself. You don't see her face, but she's filming these oysters, these raw oysters, herself fucking slurping these oysters just right in the mic. Just oh my fucking God. That's what she's doing. And the whole time, she's bitching about how the guy that she's with is looking at her all
appalled.
crazy. He is appalled by this behavior. He's probably never fucking seen anything like it. She orders 48 oysters, which, okay, that's probably $70, $80.
That's more than that.
Well, more than that, maybe.
Because you're talking about 12 oysters per tray.
Each tray is probably close to like
$20 maybe?
Something, yeah.
$20 to $25 probably, depending upon the restaurant that you go to.
She might have spent over $100 on oysters. Right.
Not to mention like the drinks that she had.
Yeah, she also got herself like a little margarita. And she also ordered, after all those oysters, some crab cakes and some potatoes. She got that too.
No.
And it's funny because she's recounting all this. And like halfway through, she's like, this motherfucker went to the bathroom and he ain't come back. He walked out on her ass and left her there. And good on him.
Yeah.
Good on him for standing up for himself
Yeah.
and just leaving that situation and left her ass with the bill. I wonder how much she tipped. Probably big fat fucking nothing.
I can take a guess.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, good on that guy. Good on him for not fucking. I was like, no, I'm not doing this.
No, absolutely.
I'm not doing this. I didn't. Yeah, like, fuck you. You want to be a fucking asshole about it?
Yeah, she's being an asshole.
Yeah,
she's being a dick.
Yeah.
And she posts this screenshot of a message that she sent him. She was like, "Why did you walk out on me?" or something like that. And he's like, "Look," he's like, "I've offered to take you out for lunch." He's like, "I didn't know you were going to do all that." He's like, "I can cash out you the money for the drinks or whatever."
No.
Which, you don't even know her that, sir.
No.
But anyway, it's cringy because it's just such a fucking lack of self-awareness.
Just the fucking narcissism.
Just the fucking narcissism is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've never in my life seen narcissism like that. Like, do you not have to wipe your ass when you shit? It's just gold bars coming out?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is going on here?
It seems to me like, for the most part, like, social media is just an opportunity for people to put their narcissism on display. At least that's what it looks like for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. And people do it all the time.
Yeah.
The things that people do and the things that people say is just, maybe it's because I come from a different time.
Yeah.
I'm 31, so, there are like fucking 20-year-olds who grew up in a different world than I did.
Yeah.
Who are out here making these decisions like this. So I just don't fucking understand it. How can you be this way?
And I mean, and who's to say? I mean, it might be that, these types of people that are posting this type of content are the people who get the most eyeballs.
Content.
Yeah,
There's that fucking
content creator.
She says that in the video.
Yeah.
She says that part of the reason why she went out anyway was so she could get some content. You know, these people that just film every waking moment of their lives, what do you do for fun? What do you do for you? Like, how do you have no privacy? How are you okay with having no privacy?
I just like see them like on their deathbed and then get like the camera turned around.
Yeah. They're like, hey guys, we're here on my deathbed. Thanks for the donation. Like little peppers and hearts coming out of the fucking live stream.
It's like skull and crossbones.
Yeah. People spamming F. That really happened to somebody.
Yeah, what was that? That was
It was a I don't know what he was streaming, but there was a guy who was streaming some game and he died on stream and he had like a heart attack or a stroke or something. And none of his viewers called the police. They just all started spamming F in the
everything's
chat.
a joke with these fucking people.
Those people online are not true friends.
No.
They are not your fucking friends.
I mean, I guess if something was going to happen to me, at least make it funny.
Yeah, that's true. For the older listeners, typing F is okay. It comes from an old Call of Duty game where there's a cut scene where you're at a military funeral and you have to walk over to the casket and you hammer in a star into the top of the casket. But the prompt to do that just says press F to pay respects. And so ever since then, when someone dies or something bad happens, people will type a single F and hit enter in like the live chat feed or whatever it is you're watching. So whenever something happens like that, you'll just see like a flood of Fs come through. So the idea that somebody actually died and hundreds of people all collectively just started spamming F. It's so fucking funny. Oh, God.
Oh. Yeah, I always... that kind of stuff always makes me laugh. I got I went down a Reddit hole the other night where somebody had like wrote this big long post about how the death of Harambe signaled the decline of Western civilization.
Yeah.
And like all the shit that happened after that. And I was like, you make a pretty convincing argument.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I've seen that argument made before.
No.
It makes a lot of sense.
And I was like, yeah, it was about that time.
Harambe was the start of it all.
It's like, it was about that time, was it not?
Yeah. That was in what, 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was also the year that Trump got elected.
No.
And people lost their fucking minds over that. Speaking of,
did you see
go ahead.
Vivek?
Oh, what'd he do this time?
At the RNC debate.
What'd he do this time?
Where he called Nikki Haley Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels? Yeah, I did see that. Did you see her fucking stupid tweet that she...
Yeah, it made no sense.
Yeah, nobody knew what the fuck she was talking about.
What the fuck are you talking about?
She tweeted, she said, Vivek, these heels aren't for fashion, they're ammunition. And everyone was like, huh? What are you talking about?
What?
Nikki Haley just
a fucking war hawk.
It's just a fucking war hawk, like all the rest of them are.
Yeah.
I mean, she's no different than any other Republican candidate that's come along in the past, I don't know, fucking 30, 40 years.
No, I don't want to go to war.
I like Vivek. I'm telling you, I like him.
No.
I know he seems a little too based.
Yeah.
But he's very well spoken. He's, I haven't seen him back down from anything. No. Like people have tried to like corner him and like catch him in a lie. It just doesn't happen. Like
he had that moment, and then he also had the moment where he essentially called out the head of the RNC, the chair of the RNC, and was like, "You're the reason why the RNC keeps losing." Yeah. Yeah. He's like, we got these two twat waffle Democrats sitting down here. He's like, you should have Elon Musk and Joe Rogan moderating the debate. That way, I don't know, more people would watch. Yeah.
he is not shy to call out the fact that the Republicans are just complacent in.
Oh yeah. Oh, it makes them so mad.
The status quo.
Yeah.
Like as long as they're all getting their little slice of the pie, they don't give a fuck what happens to anybody. And he is not afraid to call them out on that.
Right.
And I feel like the reason why so many people like that is because it reminds them of a certain orange man.
Right.
Who did the exact same thing.
Right. I think Vivek is much smarter.
Oh, yeah.
by a fucking long shot.
By a fucking long shot, yeah. Donald Trump just bumbled his way through the whole thing.
Right.
It's fucking meme magic got him elected. But Vivek is very intelligent.
He's very smart.
He's very well spoken, like I said, and he
has some stuff on the southern border that I'm like, I don't think.
Yeah.
He's like I'd go straight to war with the people at our southern border. I'm like, I don't like that.
We just can't start slaughtering people wholesale.
Yeah, it's like, why don't we just increase border security? Like that might help.
Why don't we build that wall? How do we do that? We haven't even tried that, you guys.
It's like if you would bring some of those people back over from the sandbox over there, we could free up some money.
Yeah. If you would just tell all the desert squabblers that, hey, you're on your own.
No,
like we
figure it out.
Y'all have got to figure this out, guys. It's been since before Jesus.
Millennia.
Yeah. If Jesus came back, he would say, "You've got to be kidding me."
Yeah. We're still doing this.
This is still going on over here.
Like there were crusades hundreds of years ago. And none of this has changed.
They've been fighting this fight when the best thing they had were swords and shields to fight it with.
Do you know how much you had to hate someone to run them through with a fucking sword?
Yeah. And then get them off your sword and then do it to another guy.
Yeah.
And then somebody does it to you and you just die in fucking agony next to the guy you stabbed. And the two of you probably lay there and look at each other like, this wasn't, why did we do this? Like... Nobody gained anything from this.
Can you imagine being like the dude on the front line and you're like, we're about to go to war. All of a sudden, there's like an arrow like sticks in your clavicle. You're like,
you're run down by some dude on a horse with a spear.
All of a sudden, you're in the arrow.
Yeah. Get you right through the fucking sternum.
Get kicked in the head by a fucking horse.
Yeah. You don't even bleed out quickly because it's just stuck in you.
Like it would like stick you to the ground and you can like get up.
You just like bent over backwards.
Every once in a while somebody comes by and pokes you.
Like, thank God I did this instead of, I don't know, staying at home.
Yeah. Staying at home and having sex with my wife.
No,
it's like I've got scurvy from this fucking trip that I took across the fucking med.
Yeah, fucking trench foot. Ugh. I don't know.
But yeah, I think, obviously, like, the people that are currently doing the debates right now, he's by far the best candidate.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's even, like, debatable at this point.
It helps that he's young. That's what helped Barack a lot, too.
Yeah.
Was the fact that he was so young, he was fresh, and it was people like, this is refreshing to have a young face here doing this.
Right. What's also refreshing is somebody that...
I mean, stand him next to fucking Chris Christie. I mean, that fucking clown.
Yeah.
You need to just roll on home.
Right. Well, it's also refreshing to see somebody that is around our age.
Yeah.
That isn't just like some wacko fucking leftist.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we actually do exist.
Yeah, we're out there. Yeah. And they're wildly successful, too.
It's like, and I don't think he is like strictly like Republican. I
don't think he is. I think he's very centrist.
Yeah, I think he is, too.
That's part of what I like about him.
But I mean, that's one of the other reasons why, honestly, the best thing that could happen.
I thought the same thing about RFK as well.
Yeah, I think one of the best things that could happen, he's had some weird stuff that has said since. But for the most part, I think if those two were to run against each other, I think we come out better on the other side as opposed to the fuck has been going on for the past 8 years.
I tell you what, right now, we cannot have another 4 years of Joe Biden. We can't.
Yeah.
We cannot afford it as a nation. We can't. It has to be anyone else.
No.
I mean...
Me fucking Bozo the Clown.
It's got to change. Give me fucking Hamburglar.
You can fucking stick Chris Christie up there.
Yeah. Oh God. I just, one thing that I hear from the left about Nikki Haley a lot is they say that she's very presidential.
I don't give a shit about that.
That goes a long way with senators and congressmen and millionaires living in Martha's Vineyard, and that really don't make a fuck to me.
No, I don't fucking care about that.
I don't care about someone who carries themselves that way, and that's like their thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm more interested in, what is your plan to get us out of all these endless wars?
Yeah.
Oh, Nikki Haley doesn't intend to do that.
She's going to put in more of them.
Yeah, because then didn't she fucking work for Lockheed Martin or something
She's
like that?
on the board.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in her interest that war continues.
Right.
Yeah, but Vivek
just
annihilating everybody. It's very reminiscent of Trump, but it's funny the difference between the two of them. Trump was doing it because he's an actual bully, and Vivek was doing it because he had something to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Trump, like Vivek had very he's right.
Yeah.
What he said is actually true.
Yeah.
Whereas Trump would be
outlandish claims.
Yeah.
He'd be we're gonna build the wall.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make Mexico pay for it. It's gonna be a beautiful wall.
Or he'd be like, you're real low energy tonight, Jeb. Real low.
It's so funny that he said he was going to make Mexico pay for the wall. Like, what? And then the president of Mexico came out. He's like, I'm not paying for a fucking wall.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people, up until that point, I think a lot of people, everybody has the fucking memory of a fucking goldfish.
Yeah.
It's up until that point, this is really when Barack was we're not doing coal mining anymore. That's being shut down.
Yeah.
We're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
And just took whatever industry was left in Appalachia and just stripped it away.
Got it out of there.
Now you have all these people sitting there, and then you have all these cunt nuggets up and fucking writing for Vice and BuzzFeed, which none of them exist anymore.
Yeah. Ha ha.
Ha ha.
Ha ha.
So
you just fucking deserved it.
Yeah, you deserved every piece of what. Fuck you, you cunt.
Fucking piece of shits.
But for them to write all these articles is about learn to code.
Yeah.
I remember when they did that, and do you remember when it started turning on them?
Yeah.
Everybody said learn to code.
Everybody said learn to weld.
Yeah, learn to weld, and they got all mad about it.
Yeah.
And they demanded that Twitter ban these accounts and all this shit. It's all that led up to Trump.
Yes,
people were fucking tired of that shit. It's
you pushed too far.
Yeah,
you are the reason that man got elected because you pushed too fucking far.
Absolutely. Up until that point, had Trump ran against W in 2004,
never would have won.
He never would have fucking won. If he'd have run against W,
they would have wrote him off so fast.
Yeah, if he'd have run against W
especially senior. If he'd gone
absolutely, no way,
not a chance.
It's but you can only shit on middle America for so fucking long. They can't fucking handle it no more.
Yeah.
It's you have essentially the people on the coast that just fucking hate.
Yeah.
Loathe.
Yeah.
Loathe everybody in the middle.
Yeah.
Cannot fucking stand them. They're fucking stupid, uneducated, backwards, all this other shit. And it's I understand why all those people were so fucking mad. It makes sense. Was most of it fucking misdirected? Yeah.
Yeah, of course it was.
Absolutely. It's they need to look at the same, and eventually, they started turning on the RNC too, which RNC deserves every fucking bit of that.
It really splintered off, didn't it? It was you have the RNC and then there's MAGA.
Right.
That went. That was a whole thing. Donald Trump took a huge portion of all those voters and said they're coming with me.
Right.
Yeah, I'm taking them forever. Yeah, and then now you just squabble amongst yourselves over whoever's left.
Because up until that point, you had people that were old guard Republican. They're very stuffy.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I understand why people our age didn't fucking like the Republican Party. I didn't fucking like them.
Yeah.
It's like, I have nothing in common with these fucking people.
Yeah, we don't live in the same fucking world.
It's like, this isn't the same, like, you don't have my interest in fucking mind.
Yeah.
It's like, but these people over here are fucking whack jobs, so I have no fucking, there's no recourse here. Like, what do you want me to do?
The Republican voter and the Republican politician are two insanely different
They're different people.
Two insanely different people.
Different people.
The Democrat voter and the Democrat politician are very close to being the same person.
Oh, yeah.
Like, nearly, like, point for point the same person. The only thing that might be different is the fucking bank account.
I think the most important thing that we could probably ever do as a country is disbar people from running under a political affiliation. I think that you should have to run on your own platform.
By your own merit.
And you should not be able to tie a political party to your campaign.
And you shouldn't be able to be given donations.
No donations.
You have to fund it yourself.
Right.
Well, I don't know, because then you might have some, like, that wouldn't be fair if you had, like, an Elon Musk going up against, like, you know, fucking Lars.
Yeah.
You know, Lars for president. I see him post on Twitter. He gets, like, 20 likes, you know. God bless him. He's going to keep trying.
I like the enthusiasm.
I do. Him and Vermin Supreme.
I mean, fuck at this point.
Yeah, why not? Why not the wizard that wears a boot on his head?
We've already tried all this other shit, so it couldn't possibly get much worse.
One of the funniest things that Vermin Supreme ever did was he went on, oh, God, what show was it? Was it Good Morning America, I think? They had him on, and they were like, they kept trying to get him to admit that it was a bit.
Yeah.
He was like, no. It's like, I 100% mean this literally.
Yeah.
They're like, so your Ponies for Everyone initiative is a real thing? He's like, yeah, everyone gets a pony. Every American gets a pony.
Yeah.
And they're like, why? And he was like, ponies poop. And he just like, he kept saying shit like that, like they were supposed to know what he was talking about.
He's like, how are you not following this?
I mean, it's obviously a bit.
Yeah.
But the fact that he plays it so serious, they don't know what to do with it, is really fucking funny.
Well, I mean, it's just like, it's sort of like, my political affiliation is most closely like aligned with the Libertarian Party, and there's even stuff in like the Libertarian Party I'm like, I don't really.
We got to have some governance.
Yeah, it's like I'm not really down with like I'm very like their whole thing with borders. It's like I understand to a point.
Yeah.
It's like, however, like we kind of have to have them.
You gotta have them.
You gotta have them. Other than that, get rid of all the fucking government. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like very anarchist. Like at this point, I'm just done with the whole
thing.
The
IRS can fuck off forever.
Yeah. You can fuck off and die.
Fuck off and die, IRS.
But I mean, even with like the Libertarian Party, it's like I'm not. There's certain things that they align with that I do not align with.
Well, I mean, you know, as a person, you have to consider the fact that, you know, if you think that there are only two options, red or blue, and you have to say, okay, so I as a person have to subscribe wholly to one of these ideologies.
Yeah.
No, you don't have to do that. You feel the way you feel about things. You intrinsically know what you feel is the morally correct thing. And there's never going to be a political party that hits all those marks with you. There's going to be one that you
try to get it as close as you possibly can.
The majority you agree with, but there's going to be little things that you don't agree with, and that's fine to have that dissent. But you can't.
No.
You aren't going to completely fall under one category and be that entire thing.
Right. I think that the worst thing that we did as a nation was allow this like bipartisan. Like essentially,
George Washington said that would destroy.
Yeah, it's a uniparty at this point. I mean, they're all in it together.
They're all in it together. Absolutely. They hate it when you point that out.
No.
It pisses them off.
It makes them so mad.
Yeah, it pisses off all those multi-billionaire Republicans. They hate it when you say that.
Well, it's sort of like there's that, and then what was it? It was Eisenhower that warned against the military-industrial complex right before he left. He's like, what's getting ready to happen? He's like, you need to fight against this.
Yeah.
This is going to be really bad.
Don't let it get any worse than it is.
Yeah.
And we said, no, fuck that. There's money to be made.
Yeah. And unfortunately, my corner of the political compass
went
fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's make money.
We ball. Oh, boy. Well, I think that's about all we got time for today, everybody. This was episode 86 of the Thicc Bois podcast. If you're new to the podcast, hello and welcome. Hope that you've enjoyed hearing us bitch and complain and just talk about nerdy things that we like. That's kind of what we do here. If you guys have anything that you would like us to discuss or any questions you'd like to ask, or if there's anything that you'd like us to give advice on, make sure you reach out to us on Facebook. You can send us a message there, or you can email us at thickboypodcast@gmail.com. Do you have anything you'd like to close with?
Nope, just the same as always. Thank you so much for the continued support. We appreciate it. If we are not on your preferred podcast platform, shoot us a message on Facebook or send us an email. Let us know where you'd like to be able to listen to us. We're coming up on episode 100 here within the next couple months.
Yeah.
At that point, I think we're still going to be doing our special episode.
Yeah, we're going to try and do a little special thing.
Yeah. So at that point, as we get closer, we'll kind of
we'll reveal more information.
Yeah, we'll reveal more information. But no, just thank you so much for the continued support, whether or not it's on your ride home or you're taking a shit or whatever it is that you're doing. Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully none of it's like you're like having sex with somebody and listening to that stuff.
It's like, babe, can I turn on the Thicc Bois podcast?
Set the mood. Like, oh, God, no.
She's like, I guess it's your birthday. All right, everybody. That's the podcast. Thank you and goodbye.